Today we're going to show you an advanced tutorial in Divi all about the condition options that were just released. This is going to be a game changer, so stick around. You're going to see the end product and I think you're going to be really impressed. So what we're going to show you today is really a way to replace some of the products you might already have. Those banner plugins, newsletter subscription, or welcome to my site, cookies, or any of those things, except now you've got the power of the Divi builder. So this is cool and it's built right into Divi. So without any further ado, let's jump into the tutorial space. And we're rocking WordPress 5.8.1. And let's go in and look at the version of Divi because we did get an update very recently. So we're looking at version 4.11.2. So let's go into the front end. You're going to see just a very basic version of our site, what we built before. And some of the more recent tutorials that we've done, you've seen us kind of build on this, right? We did some conditional logic. We put a banner bar over the top. Now we've got this header that we built in one of our recent videos, which I'll link up over here. You can check that out if you want to get this layout. But what we're going to do here is, like, let's say this market is welcoming someone to it for the very first time, and they want to offer the guests who reach this page for the very first time some sort of a discount. But they only want to see it once, the very first time they visited the page, right? So how do we do that? Let's just go to work here. Let's enable the visual builder. We're on the home page. And we're going to build this together. So follow along. We're going to make sure you get the code, everything you need to get this layout working for you. Now, let's say we want to have something pop up here in the bottom left-hand corner. First, I want to drag this away so it doesn't get in the way. And we're just going to go to the very bottom, go to this last part, and we're going to create a new section at the bottom of this page. Add in a single row. And let's say we're going to do an image. And below that image, we want to do some text. And the text, let's just say 10% discount. Save on our products during your first visit. Something along those lines, right? And let's say we're going to make this a heading 2. We can style that however you want. You know, make this fit your brand, make it fit something that really works for you. And well, let's update the text design a bit as well. So we'll go with just regular. We'll do pop-ins, and we'll make this text just a little bit bigger. So we've got this little bit here, right? We've got this section. We're going to change this image though. We've got to make something that grabs your attention. So let's go ahead and upload the image here. We're going to change this one. And we've got a very basic, simple image that we're going to upload from our desktop. Go ahead and put this in, and it's something really, really simple, right? So we've got this little bit. We're going to shrink the image size down just a little. And let's center align everything that exists here, all the text, everything, right? So we can go down here and we'll center align all of this. Now I do want to reduce some of the space here, so sizing or spacing actually, and remove that. So now we've got this little row, and we can shrink things down just a little bit more. So spacing, I don't need a ton. And then we'll just want to add a little bit of padding here on the actual row. All right, so right at 45. So perfect. So obviously this isn't where we want it. It's not how we want things to look, but it's close, right? So let's actually change the position. And we're going to make this fixed. And we're going to do it to the bottom left-hand corner. Currently, the width is 100%. Let's change the z-index so that it's above everything else, so things scroll underneath it. And then we've got to go down and change the sizing. And so the width of this one, let's say we only want it to be 400 pixels. So now it's going to shrink down. And now we're looking at something that's like looks pretty good. So let's say 450. And let's go ahead and change the size of this image because it was done by percentage. So we can make this just a little bit bigger, right? And what we want is to do some animation, right? Because we want this thing to maybe slide in, not on the image, rather on the section. So let's do design and animation and have it slide in from let's slide in right. So it just kind of pops in, right? And we can do more intense. We can have it ease in, ease out. The duration can shrink if we want it to be faster. Go down to 400. Nah, maybe that's a little too quick. Let's go back to 8. Yeah, looks pretty good, right? So we're in a good spot. We've got our little discount. We can add a button here. It says get code, get discount code. Align that to the center. We can style the button. White text, red background, no border. You can, again, style this to however you want this to look. You just got to make it fit in with your brand. We're going to change the button to pop-ins. And let's actually add a little bit of, I don't want the icon, and let's add some margin to the top. So let's just say maybe 15 pixels to space that thing down just a little bit. And I think I need to remove one more checkbox for the icon. Yes. So we've got our, we've built what we need, right? But I think I want to space this out maybe a little farther. Yeah, that looks a whole lot better. And you could do a few other things if you wanted to space it out. You know, just play with this. You can go 5 here, 5 there. That way it pushes it off the bottom. And you can, I mean, you can make it more if you wanted. That way it comes away from the bottom corner. You could do, you know, let's say 8 border radius. That way it looks a little bit more modern. And then as you scroll, it's going to stay right here. So if you wanted it to hover over white area, you could do a little border shadow as well. And it looks good, right? It's simple. And then once you do that, the next thing you'll want to do is pair this with the conditions. So if we go under conditions, we can add the condition and how many times we want it to show. Number of views. Only display it one time. Reset after duration? No. So I want this to show to them one time ever. And you could combine that with any others. You know, if they're a customer already, you can maybe not show it to them. That would work really well. There's no way for them to close it, right? So your people who visit your site are going to get pretty annoyed by this if it pops up that one time they visit and they can't get rid of it. That's the beauty of all of the pop-ups that you can get from downloaded plugins and tools that you add to your site, is that you can close them. So we're going to add one little small bit of code, and it's going to allow you to close this really, really easily. All right, so let's pull up the code that we're going to add into the site. And it's really simple. It's just a few lines of code, and this starts the jQuery function. And this says, whenever we click the ID of whatever we have here that has the ID KL close button, it's going to do something. So it's going to kill or hide the KL pop-up. And so we've got to do a few things to get this ready to work. So first things first is we've got to give the section the name of the ID. So we called it KL underscore pop-up. So now it's going to be looking for this whenever we click on the button. But we don't have a button yet, right? So the other part of what we need to do here is we want to add one more button. We're going to set its position to absolute. We're going to put it in the top right hand corner. And then we're going to style that button. So the contents of it is just going to be an X. And we're going to change the styling on the individual button itself. And we're going to make this background sort of a blackish color, maybe a little not so super dark black, maybe somewhere in here. We're going to make the color white. The border, we're going to get rid of the border radius. We're going to get rid of the border. I'm going to go back up here, make the text white. That way it's up here. We're going to get rid of that icon to where we don't show it at all. And what we're going to do is make it so that the background on hover goes from the faded to the full on black. That way when you hover over it, we know it's going to work. And we've already given that whole section the KL pop-up. Now we've got to give the button here the KL close button. So we're going to go here under CSS ID and classes, KL underscore close underscore button. So now when this is clicked, it should close this section once the code is working. And there's a way, and we'll show you real quick how to actually test this before you drop the code in. So you can always go and open up the inspect tool if you want to try it. So let's save this page. I'm going to pull this code away real quick, and we're going to go to the front end of the site. So let's take a look at what the front end looks like. So again, this pops up. We've got the little code button. We've got this button. When we click on it, nothing's happening. So we've got to go back in, adjust this so that it shows up multiple times just for demonstration's sake. So let's remove the conditions, save this, and let's actually remove the link here. So if I wanted it to be just, this could say anything you want, anything at all. I'm going to save this one more time and we'll refresh the front end. So our section comes in, and when we close this, it doesn't do anything because the code doesn't exist yet. But remember, if we go and we inspect, this is where the power really comes in. So we can go into the console and grab our code, paste our code, and press enter. And now the code that we want to put in should work on the page. So if I click this button, if all is done well and I've done my code right, this will close the section. And it does. So it goes away, and if we refresh the page, that section will come back because we removed the conditions. And if I click it again because I refreshed and the code's not there, now it won't close. So we've just got to go and add the code. So if we jump back into the back end, what we do here is really anywhere, let's close the builder so it's out of the way, you can add in that same section a code module. Script, add in our jQuery that we copied in just a second ago, and let's just resave one more time. We'll jump back into the front end, refresh our page, and all should be right in the world. When we click that close button, that section's going to go away. So think about the opportunities or the possibilities for the power of this, right? This can be anything. It can be a welcome video that you customize for people who visit your website the very first time. It can be a different video if people have visited again. The possibilities are incredible. Again, I talked about it in other videos. Restaurants. This is the perfect opportunity for your restaurant. If you have a different special every week, you can create a different banner that shows only on certain days of the week. Add this code in where you have the close button, and boom, get rid of it. Just close it, and it will only show up on the right day of the week. So to put this thing completely together, let's go back in here into the section. We're going to open up advanced, and we're going to add the condition that we had earlier back. So number of visits, I only want this to show one time. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to press the save button. Right. And then we're going to go back to the front end, refresh this page. We get our layout. 10% discount, save on our products during your first visit. And this link would take them to either a sign up page for the email. That way they can fill out the form, get the email code that's going to give them the 10% discount to whatever services or products you offer. Or if they close this out, they miss it. It's gone. It's gone forever, and they can't get that code again. So those are just that's one really, really awesome way I think that this can be used. But the possibilities are endless, and my mind is running on all the opportunities of things that you can actually do with this. So I'm going to continue to build layouts and do tutorials around this conditional logic, because what we can do with this I really believe is endless. It's only limited by whatever we can think up in our heads. And if you haven't yet watched the video I did on conditions and the full rundown of how Divi condition options work, I'm going to link that video up. Just go ahead and let's jump over into that one. We'll continue the learning. We'll continue to explore what Divi can do.